Have you always had that creative and problem-solving drive, but sometimes you find yourself stuck on how to start a project, or maybe you don't even have an idea for a project? Don't worry, in this video I'll show you the exact methodology that has driven our development for the past 80 years, helping you to create amazing projects, because every great advance started with an idea. When we first dive into the DIY world, we get inspired by other makers sharing their incredible projects online, showcasing their technical skills and abilities. But for those just starting out, who might not have all the tools, knowledge, or budget, it can feel overwhelming and demotivating. The truth is, nobody is born knowing everything they need. Everything is learned along the way, especially through practice. But there are methods to accelerate your development. I'll explain the process in 5 stages so that by the end of this video, you'll be ready to dive into your first project, no matter what it is. To start, it's easier to identify problems you would like to solve, issues you're facing right now, or things you'd like to improve in your environment. Start small, like untangling the mess of cables on your desk that won't let you work, or making a cup holder for your sofa. You'll eventually come out with ideas for solving more complex problems, or even ones you haven't seen before but will find useful. Define all the realistic goals you want to achieve with this project. Having this list will help you in the next steps. What I love about the maker mindset is that it isn't limited to working with wood or 3D printing. A maker is someone who can solve problems with whatever tools they have, whether it's electronics, mechanisms, leather, fabric, Legos, or polymer clay. Even origami can be useful, and if you're not good at crafts, maybe you're good at coding or another skill. As the name suggests, you need to make things, and the important thing is to use what you know to improve your life. Alright, all this sounds great, but knowing our limitation is crucial. Maybe we can't afford a solution that costs $200, or even if we can, the necessary materials might not be available locally. We also need to be aware of the time we have to complete it. Finally, we must know our skills and how far we can go with a project. For instance, if a project requires complex metal work and I'm not familiar with it, I'll need to change my strategy. But if it's something simple, it may be an opportunity to learn the basics and try to apply them. Always challenge yourself to have better projects. Alright, once you've identified the problem, the next step is to research possible solutions. Let's face it, it's highly unlikely we are the only person in the world with that problem or the first to think of solving it. When I start my projects, I always spend some time on the internet until I find something that can inspire me or at least give me some basic ideas to modify and adapt to my needs. The biggest advantage of this century is having access to the internet. Look on sites like YouTube, Pinterest, Reddit forums, or other maker blogs. You can also check virtual stores to see if there's a commercial product that solves your problem. If there's a commercial product, consider buying it. Often, something already exists on the market, and there's no need to reinvent the wheel. Save your creativity for a more demanding project. However, sometimes the product is too expensive, unavailable, has too many unnecessary features, or lacks some you need. In these cases, the maker alternative shines to achieve the best balance. A few weeks ago, I sent an email in the Maker Mail about why being a maker and creating your own ideas is such an advantage. If you are new, you can subscribe for free to the Maker Mail in the description and check out that article, along with receiving future newsletters. Once you've seen how makers around the world have solved similar problems, you'll have a clearer idea on what's already been done, the materials used, and the process involved. With this information, it's time to start drawing. Of all the steps, this is probably the most creative moment. Depending on what you're solving, you may need a modification for your closet, a fun stand for working at your computer, or even if you're working on a mobile app, you always need a visual aid of what you're creating. You don't need to be the best artist. And nowadays, you don't even need paper. You can do it directly in a drawing app. The important thing is to express your ideas and contemplate them. Once drawn, you'll get new ideas for improvements or maybe something entirely different. This is the moment to let everything flow. Try to have 3 to 4 different solutions. This will help because now you need to choose between them. Evaluate the pros and cons of each one. Something that happens to me often is that one of my ideas ends up being extremely complex and often doesn't justify the difficulty. If you're just starting, I recommend choosing a minimal viable product. This means having the minimum necessary for it to function. As you get familiar with the method and your skills improve, you can add more details to your designs. By the end of this stage, you should have a detailed sketch of what you want, know the materials you'll use, the tools, and where to get everything. Once the design phase is complete, we move on to fabrication, where we turn our sketch into reality. For me, this part is the most fun because you use your hands to transform your surroundings. Buy or gather the parts needed for your project. This will depend a lot on the type of project you're doing, but generally, I finish the design in CAD while waiting for the parts I ordered to arrive. Then, I proceed to fabrication, whether it's 3D printing, carpentry, or any other method the project requires. If your project includes electronic components, take the opportunity to learn to solder like a professional. For that, I leave a video explaining how to solder at home with affordable materials from scratch. In this stage, we'll apply all our learned skills. Whatever your project, please take the necessary precautions to protect your health since you'll need it for your next project. During this stage, we'll do intermediate reviews to evaluate the functionality of subsystems. In many cases, they won't work on the first try, so we'll need to make a small modification until it's right. Remember, this isn't a race, there's no one to beat. Take your time and enjoy the process. Now that you've completed your project, here's my best advice of the video. Use it. The goal was always to make something useful for you. So, if you met the requirements from step 1, this project should not only have sentimental value, but also be highly useful to you. Therefore, there should be no hesitation in using it. However, we can expect the project to be perfect on the first try. It's also possible that the solution you came up with wasn't what you expected. In these cases, we need to go back to the drawing board and iterate again. You just created something new. Take pictures of it. Show it to your family. Post it on your social media if you want. Be proud of the fruit of your labor. Even if it's something small, you made it, and it's specifically designed for you. Comment below if you completed any projects before and how we could find them if they are online. The maker community has the huge advantage of sharing their projects, some even in detail, and they are willing to help if you want to replicate their project. This will be a great source of inspiration as you can see many examples and interact with the creators. This is the method I was trained as an engineer, but you definitely don't need to be an engineer to apply it. So take this information and adapt it to your life. Anyone can be a maker, and if you haven't started yet, this is your call to begin. If you want to see one of my projects where I use this methodology, including design flaws, you can watch this video. And if you're interested in starting projects with electricity and electronics, this video has the most important tips professionals use.